Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Dalton, back at it again with some more content live with Bryce.
Yes.
And the ginger from over there.
Hey, I'm at my own table. I'm special.
That's
Like-
why we had to separate ourselves.
Good special or bad special?
Just look at you.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's to confuse the special ones.
You wanna
You
you,
are.
you wanna move on and tell people what we're doing if they don't know by the title, thumbnail, post we made on social media about this.
Bryce, it would be done this way.
I don't know. That's a sense of being untapped too sometimes.
We're talking about the fact that Super, the card game, not the anime. This is not Anime Buzz, as you know by the channel. That's not why you're here. Has been going on.
If it is why you're here, we're sorry.
We'll try to change our ways. We'll try. But it's been a year. And let's talk about it, man.
Technically, it's been like, what, 8 days shy of a full year since Dragon Ball Super, the trading card game, was released. But Dalton's not going to be here next week, so we can't do it then. Because, I mean,
Or can we?
what would a TCG Buzz live stream be without Dalton?
Or could we?
Could we?
Yeah, we would just have to use the phone.
That's a terrible.
It'd be cancerous, but like we could totally do it.
What kind of low quality production do you think this is? We got buttons to switch between who's on camera. Look,
Potato quality.
yeah. So
Still on us. Good job, Captain.
hey, so it's been a year since the game came out. So we thought it would be fun to talk about our experiences over the past year and reflect, and maybe see where the game's going in the future and if it's got a bright future or not.
Oh,
I said the word future too many times. That's okay.
from the future?
I don't think that's a good
Oh,
thing.
wrong game, right?
So why don't we start from the beginning? Well, you see, the universe was a big empty space, and suddenly bang, and that's what scientists say, but we all know that that's not true. It was actually Goku who created the universe.
Allow me to set the scene. Blue dominated everywhere. Nothing but sensu beans.
An objection, right?
Yes.
Uh,
It was Soul Striker back in those days.
All right, so we're starting then with Galactic Battle, the very first booster set released for the game. And like the first word that comes to my mind when I think about it is scarcity. Because when it first came out, it was really hard to find packs.
Yes, sir.
Our fabulous locals, Frost Giant Games, tried to get more and more product in for us, and they really struggled to get anything at all. And by the time they, finally get one of their distributors to hook them up with a couple boxes, as soon as they were on shelves, boom, gone.
Yep.
Something's not right over here. Hold that thought.
Okay. Oh, now Dalton's brighter.
Ah, that
Beautiful.
seems right.
Hey, that brings up the color in you.
Whew.
So I remember with set 1 how hard it was. Like, it was actually a game just getting your packs. And, I remember...
Wait. So it was a game within the game?
Was it Pack Wars?
Within the game?
Was it Pack Wars?
No, it was Box Wars this time.
No, it was like Black Friday shopping when, people were like beating each other up just to get a couple microwaves or whatever.
Whoa. Except it was for boxes. Galactic Battle.
I remember when set 1 was the only set out, and there was such a scarcity. I remember going on the subreddit for the game, and every post was people talking about finding packs at like Target. Target was the only place. Local game stores and Target, and both of them were rarely had stock. And I remember I was on a trip to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, if you don't know where that is for some reason. And I found some at a Target, and it was quite a bit of packs and a couple of the special packs, right? And I just bought everything, and I was so happy. And I remember posting it there, and everyone's like, "Who cares?"
Yeah. Like, congratulations. We're past this moment.
Yeah.
We're on to bigger, better, brighter things.
So, well, how did we each get into the game? How about that?
Well, I heard of it months before it even came out when they first announced it in May.
Yeah, I heard about it right when it was announced too, and I remember showing Dalton and Christian, our friend Christian, like the first promotional videos for it, and I was hyped. How did you feel, Dalton?
Yeah, it was there. I honestly didn't care too much. It was like, hey, it's another card game. Maybe I'll get into it. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But I don't know. I was kind of waiting for it to truly excite me. I'm a hard man to grab.
All right, what was the first deck anyone here built? The first deck I built was a really, really bad Beerus Weiss deck.
Oh, you were trying to make Beerus the leader work. I remember this.
It did not work with set 1 support.
It did not.
Broly Blue Green was atrocious.
Yeah, like Broly Blue Green. I remember that was my first serious deck for the game.
That deck was gross.
It was really fun. But I have to admit that in most cases, running the same deck minus the Broly's rings and plus Vegeta leader was generally better. You're just a big Broly fan.
Yes. Broly Power Maximum.
What was your first deck, Dalton?
My first deck was trial deck or start deck or whatever you want to call
Starter
it.
coup?
I do not call them said things. I call them the original SS3.
He's an OG.
Oh,
But
please nerf, put on watch list.
Whoa. But then I guess my more major deck was Vegeta. Because who can argue with critical, baby?
Yep. You either kill people on turn 4 or just weep in sadness.
Plus, he was one of the few leaders in the game that could self-damage. Like, what are you going to do? Play Ginyu?
Which we'll get into more on later on how they just completely just toss that out the window.
Yes,
So, what did you think? Was all the support only released in set 1? Was it balanced? Was it
Yes.
semi-fair,
I
competitive?
mean, it was still very heavy towards blue, but at least you can still play other decks and felt like you had a fighting chance. And then you realized your opponent played Sensu Bean, and you cried deeply.
Yeah, Sensu was a little too good then. I mean, Sensu was crazy. Didn't it get up to like $650 a copy at one point?
Oh, it got 10.
Oh, that's- No, I remember. I want to say it peaked at 11 for like one hot minute.
I think
it was
I think it was
crazy.
actually 1250 that it peaked at.
It's funny because it was almost at the point with you'd open up a box of set 1, you'd chuck the SRs in the trash, and you'd keep the staples.
I always kept the Broly's
Yeah,
because
'cause-
everybody loves him to Turok when it punches you for 2.
All right, would you guys like to move on to set 2 or?
Ah, yes, the best set.
I see no good sets except one.
Shut your whore Canadian mouth.
So Bryce and I have discussed this in the past, and we both kind of agree that the game peaked with set 2.
Yep.
Best set.
It was the most balanced. It was the most fun set out there. You could play Cell Chain. Good luck with that, RNGesus lovers. And then there was also the Vegeta tried and true aggro deck that got really good.
I played Hit. It was probably the best the deck was at.
Yeah.
False.
Still was pretty rogue at best. I did almost get top 8 at a local.
Because, like, it's the difference between being punched and being, like, slapped. Like, you get punched, you get angry or whatever. But then, if you get slapped, you just take a moment to just take that all in, that information. That you just... That someone actually slapped you. That's what Hit was like. And you're like... Went through that for... Okay.
Real respect to our boy Kaba, though. Kaba, best card.
Most pushed card.
Really good stuff.
Strong card, baby.
Set 2 was pretty good. I think every color.
Still on us, sir.
And it
I
was
think-
the only set that people cared about Cell Chain.
I think every color was good except yellow.
yeah,
I did
Yellow was still good though.
yellow was yellow.
like the best thing you're doing was Meta Cooler,
It
which
was the
eh.
thing that was the glue.
No,
that
that's not
kept
true.
Everything from being hyper degenerate.
You forgot about tricolor Ginyu.
There was tricolor Ginyu, but we didn't actually see that much of it at our
It
locals.
was towards the end of its cycle, right about
When everyone realized, oh, Cold Bloodlust is still good.
That's when decks kind of started getting really experimental, though. More colors being splashed in for things, more weird engines and deck choices. Before, people were kind of playing it safe. We saw a lot more like monocolor decks towards the beginning of the set.
No, I would say it was more. I'm playing my main color if it wasn't blue, and then splashing in blue, because that was basically it.
Yeah,
If it was
Splashing
Cell,
for
if
Sensu.
you were playing Cell, you splash blue. If you were playing Hit, you were probably
I
splashing
splashed blue in.
If you were playing,
Playing
I
it
can't
for
think of any
Sensu
other
is
red
literally
leaders.
what
Oh,
you're only
Champa, there we
playing
go.
for.
There was another one. Champa, you're still splashing blue because blue was still OP. You
Well,
couldn't get around that.
Champa's Champa.
But at least it felt like, all right, so at least you can play whatever deck you felt like playing and not feel like you got completely blown out of the water. Which, speaking of which, right when they started doing the draft boxes, the Mech Frieza promo, oh boy.
We'll get to the draft boxes in a moment, but first, I want to talk about what our locals look like, because our locals were really unique.
Yeah, because that's when we started really booming up in numbers.
Yeah, around set 2, our locals were big,
Like, we had an average of 19 people.
right? And for more grabby events, big stuff, we
Ru-
could get up to like what 35.
I miss my Saturdays.
It's so fun watching Jacob trying to switch through. And the
I'm
fact that-
trying to keep up.
Yeah, he just starts
You
talking.
gotta slow
Forget.
down. You're gonna create a time paradox there, Hit.
Whoa.
No comment.
Hit him in the feels. Hit him in the feels.
All right, so draft box. Let's set aside Mecha Frieza for a moment and talk about what drafting was like for the game. Because for a hot minute there, drafting was how we played Dragon Ball.
Yeah, and it was actually legitimately fun. There was a reason to do it. 'Cause
So-
you had your tournament packs that they gave out to you, which at the time was Tournament Pack 1. And then you also had sets 1 and 2 in there, which you had your staples, you had the big bombs, like Champa was actually good in draft. Like, holy crap, that thing's terrifying. Nuke board triple strike. Like, well,
I played 12 drafts of set 1, set 2, and I had a blast with basically every single one of them. Towards the end, I kind of, figured out the format, and it was always green-blue that I'd play.
draft
Oh.
roll, you monster.
I wonder why it was green blue. I was like blue was
'Cause it
good
was
or
like-
something.
If you drafted Broly, you did really well or something.
And plus, surprisingly, a lot of the set 1, Trunks cards were really, really good in limited. I really enjoyed playing it, and so did a lot of people at our locals. Like, it wasn't even about value and making your money out of it. It was about two things. Thing number 1, it was fun.
Yeah.
And thing number 2, tournament packs.
Yep, that's when all the rules were still just and fair. Nothing went oopsie boopsie just yet.
Tournament packs were crazy for set 1, set 2. Like, each one of them had one card that was crazy expensive and a few others that really held high value, too.
Yep.
I mean, what were they?
I missed it when the game.
Set 1 was the Super Saiyan 3 Goku in red, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was the guy that was just impossible to kill.
And set 2's was the green Gohan, which was just crazy critical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Both were good. Yeah, I rather enjoyed that time. And then people started to realize that one of the 4 promos included in the draft boxes were, how would you put that? Busted? Who would like to explain the saga
I think
of Mech?
the one who has the most pain.
Yes, even in the Dragon Ball Super card game, Frieza manages to ruin another thing. Take that, Akira.
Tell us more.
But basically, what the card read was, if you would read it like on context, it looked like that you would play a card, and then the next card you would have played would have been discounted, right? Nope. Bandai decided, nope. Every single extra card you play is discounted. Just pay a life. So it became Channel, the Commander, in a 50-card deck, which you just turboed out and went. I draw 14 cards, I self-awaken, and you have no hand. Good luck.
Let's be clear here. Mecha Frieza was really, really unhealthy for the game. And it took a little while for people to really break it. And then we got the expansion packs, or whatever they're called.
Our special sets or expansion sets, whatever they're
The
called.
Descent of Delve, one of the worst designed mechanics in any game.
All right.
I'm sorry, Wizards. You tried. No, Bandai. It did not work.
Let's compare the two, because there were two released simultaneously. There was the Hero one, which saw, like, Gotenks support, which was all right, and the rest of it was... Like, the cards were interesting, but weren't that competitive.
They were not interesting.
Then let's talk about the villain one. So there were two cards out of it that people really cared about. Trunks.
Yep.
Who was crazy. Like, I mean, how expensive is he still?
Like 12.
That's pretty high, especially since, what was the rate on those? 15?
Mm-hmm. You know, before they became overcharged as all high heavy.
Yeah. And then there was the Mass Saiyan, which was also really, really good.
Because it was your only form of a board wipe back in the day that didn't cost you 6.
Or was a $25 Kale.
Oh,
Fair.
my, how she has fallen.
Fair. Very fair.
So I thought the expansion packs were a really cool idea, and I thought they were done well. I think the supply was a little too low, especially on the villain one. Because immediately
Oh God!
they were sold out
heaven
so
forbid
quick.
People don't play the most playable of the two.
Also,
do I want a cheap damnation and dig through time, or do I want he's playing with these little kids and somehow make a fusion, and then I died on turn 3 because your opponent was playing aggro.
also, let's not forget that the deck boxes were pretty cool.
It was aight.
Sorry, Ultra Pro, step up your game, please.
So let's talk about set 3.
Next.
Who wants to
Pass.
vent their frustration first?
Pass.
Ah, yes. The Mecha Frieza Winter. It was a long time before all ye crybabies came to infest our toxic community of witches now. Of when people actually tried to figure out to beat the decks.
Are we the new Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, it feels like it at this point. Because the problem with the whole Mech Frieza thing was that they decided to give us, hey, let's print Demonic Tutor. And if you play big hairy ape boys, you get to untap them. What's the cost? 1 yellow. What? I'm sorry, Bandai. Can we? I have some questions. Why?
I guess here's the vote right now. Which was more cancer, Mecha Apes or Mecha GT?
How about Mecha Apes? Because at least that deck didn't rely on completely luck sacking your opponent into oblivion. But hey, if you can stack your deck like the rest of GT players do, you also could win on turn 1 and also hold up counters.
I think I've got one example to prove how bad both were.
Mm-hmm.
We held here at our local Frost Giant Games LLC.
Yep.
We held a event called
The Easter
ARG
Extravaganza.
Easter Extravaganza, which I was one of the judges for, so I did not play.
I was
And-
also one of the few rogue players actually deciding to not be a complete total A-hat and decided to play SS3 Goku.
Ready
Ooh.
for the stats?
Yeah.
We had 19 players.
Mm-hmm.
How many players were not playing Mecha Frieza?
So we had that. We had
We had-
Bardock.
There are 3 players.
Yeah, that was
3 non-Mecha Frieza. 16 out of 19 were playing Mecha Frieza.
me with my Super Saiyan 3 Mono Green. Just good stuff. And then there was the Bardock Apes with DJ at the helm. And then the only other person was, I forget his name, but he was running Cell Chain, which I don't know how you get that deck to work without just failing miserably, but God heaven forbid.
Everyone else was playing Mecha Frieza. and it was dumb. Our good friend Christian, what place did he take? Second?
Something like that.
Second,
yeah.
I want to say. Dalton?
Thought it was third.
Third, maybe. It was in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
And he was playing it, and he's like, yeah, that's the only thing you can play.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Bryce, you made the decision to play something rogue.
Yes.
How'd that go?
Well, the times I died, they opened up the nuts, and the times I didn't die, they didn't open up the nuts, and then I punished them for it because they were complete potatoes and decided to put themselves to 1 life because people are greedy. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what you get when you pay a bunch of life into necropotence.
Yeah, so, that was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Mecha Frieza errata happened.
Yep. And then the game was fine. It wasn't like super cancerous, but then after that came the giant wave of complaints. Like, nerf this, nerf that, change that, stop that. Like, guys, come on. This is not Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's not go that far. And then they keep making busted cards because they didn't learn the first time with Mecha Frieza. Like, SS3 Goku, yeah, maybe pushing it borderline, but at the same time, he's literally the only leader in the entirety of the game that you can actually play control decks or mid-range decks without immediately dying to aggro.
True story.
What did you think of set 3, Dalton?
Yeah.
Yeah, because right after Mecha Frieza got ratted, then guess who became top dog? Oh, I don't know, the Mass Sane deck that also happens to be a Hyper Aggro list. Because they haven't supported Hyper Aggro in forever.
To be fair, I only built the deck in set 3 because you guys were like, you need to play a deck from set 3. I'm like, I don't wanna. I want to stick to Vegito. Vegito was my guy. You're like, here, build apes. I'm like, okay.
I
And
wish
then-
Vegeta was good.
And then I stopped playing apes because errata happened.
All right, so
Because you couldn't draw 14 cards on turn 2 and have a giant board of hairy monkeys.
Oh no, I could still do that. I just didn't care for the deck. I never did.
all right, so after set 3, we had one of the most divisive sets in Tournament of Power. Some people thought it would be the death of the game. Some people thought it would be really solid. Some people were like, eh.
That was mainly like half-hour store. Other people like, oh my god, I got to have it. But it's like, what was in that set that was like noteworthy?
Dalton?
You know what I'm talking about.
Bergamo, my dog.
Oh yes, the Burger Boys.
That
Little
was the
Bob's Burger
first
deck.
time Super actually did something that made me actually design and build a deck. I'm not gonna lie.
They tried their best.
Otherwise, like,
Except for your hardcast Jiren deck idea.
whoa, you're ruining the surprise.
Bus exclusive here, folks.
Hardcast everything. But no, like, there's that. There was the Frieza deck, which I stupidly neglected right away. So I'm like, hey, look, I pulled the special Frieza. Here, I want to turn this in, and I want to get other cards for other deck. And then turn around and find out, oh, deck's good. Crap. I done screwed myself.
And I got hit support.
Hey, that foreseeing, man. Foresee.
It was the only good hit support Hit had.
And it's the only stuff he'll ever get.
And it's still a 4-drop that Bandai considers early, but you die on turn 2. They made the problem, and they
That's how Hit
never
do.
fixed it. They just keep adding to the problem because R&D has never gotten off that sweet stash of pot that they found because there's a few cards that slip through the cracks that somehow people are like, did they test that? Bob, did you test that? Nah? Send it through anyways. They'll never notice that Flute's a 0-drop card that's an unsummon on either side.
This is Tournament of Power, sir. We are not where you.
I guess we're segueing into set 4.
Who cares about Tournament of Power anyways?
I care.
Don't
So,
care
I
about
care.
Burgers to the deck.
Set 4.
I care.
You guys like set 3? You want more of it? Here you go.
But at least set 4 at least had some interesting payoffs to gimmicks, like the Mira chain. Remember Cell Chain? Yeah, it's like that, but it's actually good because you don't lose out on your hand cards. And on top of that, it's less devoted pieces to your deck. So now you actually have a viable hand destruction deck. Although you still lose to CBO because the guy that gets your guy can still get CBL'd, but oh well. That's what we made Killzone for, right, guys? So we can consistently kill people on turn 2 with Hyrule.
I think we'll need to, really let set 4 mellow a little bit more because it's still pretty new to really figure out full thoughts on it.
Right.
But what do you guys think of the year in its entirety? What is your thoughts on how Dragon Ball Super has presented itself in 1 year?
I personally think the game is mechanically sound. They got that right. The game is fun as long as you're not trying to kill each other at like the top 4 tables. But there's been a lot of issues in terms of like rulings. A lot of them, might I add. Very
The
poor.
headaches of cold bloodlust.
Well, it's not only that, but it's so much more like cards are ruled in the way they shouldn't be, in ways that don't make sense. But they do it anyways because Bandai. We just make this stuff up as we go, folks.
It's clear that their biggest issues to me are power creep
And card design.
and card design, specifically looking ahead. I mean, there are even little things like set 1 comes out and I go, wow, these 10K combos that give you advantage at 4 life or less really should have a special keyword on them that only allows you to have 4 of them. Sure enough, what did they have to do later on?
Right, because they actually made more.
Which we all knew they would.
Right. Because it wasn't until set 3 they started doing that. When
I think
they made,
so.
like, the more interesting ones. But set 4 really has some really cool ones, like the Namekian one for, like, Slug, which is your 5 or less life, as long as you're a green Namekian leader, which is cool, because then you have to play that leader or to play that super combo efficiently.
What's your summary of the entire year of Dragon Ball, Dalton?
My summary. You should have waited a year. And we talked about this yesterday, and the whole how I would have planned out Super. They should have waited a year, just so they could make sure they get the whole releasing of things out right. Set 1 should still be set 1. Set 2 should still be set 2. Set 3 should have been Tournament of Power. And then set 3 should never have come out until like set 7 or 8. Then kind of going with set 4, but you don't put in the Coronas. But you have the black introduction from set 3 in the Tournament of Power, so you still have your black intro. Everything else done the same, but set 3 not released until set 7 or 8, because then by that point the game should progress in a certain way to where those cards wouldn't have been broken. Hence why I say they should have waited a year, so they would have had a more fleshed out plan. The game is a fantastically sound game. It plays well, it plays smooth, but it does suffer from the fact of, they release these certain cards that I'm going to need to be playing, and it basically turbos my deck to a potentially turn 3 killing deck.
They make too many format warping cards with horrible rulings.
There's that as well. There's also, because my biggest thing was the whole Shigesh. Well, it wasn't really my big thing, but it was your thing with the whole Shigesh, Jacob.
I liked Shugesh. I just didn't like the fact that you stuck it in Mecha Frieza and you killed people on turn 2.
That was bad.
Like, after the errata happened, Shugesh was fine.
I thought the errata they should have errataed Shigesh from the beginning and just limited him
To
to yellow
Saiyans.
Saiyans. That's what I said from day 1 when they first previewed the card. He should have been just for yellow Saiyans. I thought that was a
Yes.
huge oversight.
And and that's where I disagreed with you. I'm like, I think it's perfectly fine being for all Saiyans, because you're not always going to be running a yellow leader, because that's.
Well, it's
That's
only
one of
for
the things.
yellow. It's only for yellow.
But what you could have easily have done is you could have made it like you can only be playing this card with a yellow Saiyan leader, which in turn does the exact same thing as saying that he can only drop out yellow Saiyans, because you can only be playing it with a specific leader instead of Mecha Frieza decks being a thing. Because if that's how he would have been worded, you wanted to have Mecha Apes, you wanted to have had Mecha GT, because
You would have had, like, Bardock Apes.
Bardock,
That was the
Goku
best you could
Apes.
do. And that would have been perfectly fine, because you could
And then with
still respond.
set 4 coming out, you'd have the GT in yellow finally, but like that's where I think they should have gone with Shigesh, but that's kind of besides the point. But To each their own.
All right. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts that you'd like to express?
Like, the game had a great start, and it looked like it was doing really well, and that's what just annoys me the most, that they just somehow took that success and then just crumbled it into dust. And now it's like completely toxic, and this is not the game that I fell in love with anymore.
I feel like they were running a 100-meter dash and a 200-meter. So they already hit or to make it more dramatic, a 400-meter. They were running a 400-meter race, but doing it as a 100-meter, and they just killed themselves too fast.
Right.
And I could be wrong. I'm not trying to say that they're dying completely. Just for our group, I think we're just going to take a step back and just kind of be the people looking in, trying to see if the things kind of change. But as of this moment, I feel like they just winded themselves in their first year that they need to make sure ran the best to make sure they can keep going strong.
I think the power creep is what's doing it.
Well, it's not
the
only
fact that you have to take your deck after one set and just throw it in the garbage, that sucks. But I think the other aspects besides power level of cards have been great. I like all the new play styles they've introduced.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them fit the characters they were tied to,
Yes.
fit the styles. I thought they were really interesting. The new mechanics added have all been interesting. I really liked Overrealm. I thought Swap was really interesting. Bond's really cool. Barrier
should never have been a thing.
Overall,
that's
became
fine.
a lot more fair in set 4, because I think the most peak unfairness about it was set 3, and then they fixed that in set 4. Like, this is the best you have to look forward to. That's it. That's all you're getting.
Also, character spread was really good. They, managed to give support to every era of Dragon Ball, and every type of Dragon Ball fan got something. I'm a huge fan of OG Dragon Ball.
Yes.
I got cards for that. There are plenty of GT fans. GT got tons of stuff this year. I think character choicing and spreading out, besides, the over-reliance on Goku, which, let's be honest, we knew was going to happen from the beginning.
Well, that just happens with all card games, Buddy Fight has their whole Dragon World Alliance. Vanguard has their Royal Paladins.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Has any main character deck.
Actually, I would almost say it's just Galaxy Eyes, because Galaxy Eyes is getting another set of report, but that's a different story.
Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, the big 3.
But they don't get...
Except Dark Magician sucks.
You see, what the support with Blue Eyes and Dark Magician is, yes, they know, because OG is OG, but it's Galaxy Eyes that are really...
I think we should
really
probably sign off
No,
here before
no,
we go off on
no,
a completely
I am
different
going-
subject.
All I have to say is that, Banda, if you really are watching this, just take a step back, just figure out your card design issue, and work from there. And then you will have what you had in set 2 again, which is a perfectly just enjoyable game. Instead of having to have this just annoying cluster flubbernuck of just terrible, terrible cards that infuriate people, and then you wonder why there's so many people complaining.
So, guys, before Dalton goes on and does the outro-y stuff, I'm just going to ask you guys to let us know in the comments which set of Dragon Ball Super you feel is best. Thanks for directing where they should leave the comments when you weren't on camera.
10 out of 10. Best set. Best set ever.
Yeah, so let us know what you think. Do you guys agree that the power creep was a little too extreme on the game? Do you think the game is in a good spot? We want to have dialogue, and we can do that in our YouTube comments, but also we got an entire Discord channel for that.
You are running a little long there, buddy.
Oh, no.
So make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell to get the notifications. Still down there, Bryce. Still down there. Leave a comment if you're watching this after the actual live thing. And if you're still here in chat, throw out some chats real quick, man. We want to see them before we go. Follow us on Instagram. We do post things there. Join our Discord. Come to us on Super. Let us know throughout your frustrations. If you agree with us, all that. We're all there. Some of us respond more than others. I am sorry. I'm a guilty party. But it's a thing. I get lazy and tired, and typing's hard. Not really. I'm just joking around. Check out our shop. All links will be in the description down below. Anything else from you, Bryce?
Ban flute, please. Please ban flute.
Jacob, anything else from you?
I think they need to ban Yamcha.
Whoa, that's a different live stream, man. That's a 3-hour live stream that
Three
we'll
hours.
get into later.
Ban Yamcha. Too OP. Please nerf.
And above all else, stay classy, y'all.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.